All right, you guys getting the soundtrack audio at least? Skir from Drakenlord. Probably not. I gotta go with copyright free stuff. Otherwise, all this stuff will be permanently muted, which is annoying. All right, we are seeing this. Looks like this is a Marine Striker deck from Wero, and it looks like he's playing into the mid here. We're on Meandering River this time around. Oh man, huge air attacks from the Russian team. The US team actually bringing out a couple F-22s, F-18C as well. You can already see air defense up on the back line. And first kill goes to the Russians. That F-18C is gone, and F-22 gets smoked as well. And lots of partial hits onto the Russian air there. The first Su-30, those MiG-29s, a couple of them go down, but actually huge air attacks benefit in favor of the Russians. You see those MiG-29Ks on their way out. That was a rough start for the US team here. Oh, my bad, Hansi. I will mess with it later. Yeah, and so already we're seeing a little bit of a different play style from Wero than we saw early on from Mule, but this map is much more wide open. The river makes for some really interesting sightlines. Lots of open fields. I would expect to see lighter builds kind of across the board. Yeah, the F-22s are really good if you can keep them in the back, but they're so expensive. I've personally shifted towards more the cheaper anti-air that can trade a little bit more efficiently and swapping from my F-22 to a multi-role, but that's just me personally. All right, you got both teams kind of getting set up here in phase one. Oh, Striker self-propelled howitzers coming out for Wero early on. And that's the one thing that the Marine spec lacks is any sort of real artillery outside of the mortars. Yeah, Orbis, I agree with you. I've been running the F-16 quite a bit. It's hilarious. The motivator rolling in with some supply SRAW. That I like that setup. Marine SMAWs and supply right at the start. That's smart. That's a really good way to get a lot out early, grab the center point. The trick here, you know, in this competitive play is not to overcommit early to fighting too hard for terrain, right? Because the objective points in the first phase are not worth a whole lot. All right, we see a pack 2 coming out. We see some self-propelled howitzers. So it looks like Wero wants to set himself up in the middle and then try to support his teammates, which is never a bad idea. It looks like the Russian push in the gap there, actually it looks like they're going to avoid Alpha completely and kind of drive through Bravo. You're always worried when you see a big gap like this that there's so much more coming at you, especially in terms of, like, you know, BMPs or BTRs. Why do you need Arty? You can disable enemy radars and drop bombs on them. Arty are great for dealing with infantry in the woods here, which looks like we're seeing. Oh my gosh, those Russian that's Morska Razvedka. Those are recon units, but the assaultmen small, just really well designed. And now Tu-22 cruise missiles on the way in, kind of appearing from the back in the distance. Oh, smart play from Wero. There's good micro to get his units out quickly. Oh, there we go. We have found another BTR and more of the Morska Razvedka popping in there. Man, the Dragoon, the Striker, even with the Dragoon, that 30mm Bushmaster struggles to deal with the BTRs, the armor on them. Yeah, Kodo, that's the Delta Force guys in the woods are really, really strong. Yeah, but that more cruise missiles coming in. Well, the irony, the team being named TU22M3, I think we're likely to see cruises coming in consistently. So the US side definitely going to need some shore adds. push forward by the front line. The howitzers, looks like they're HE and smoke. I don't see cluster. The problem is that the striker SPHs, they just, the damage, the burst radius on them is still not great. So as long as your enemy is microing units aggressively through the wood line, you're going to struggle. I love this from Wero. I'm going to steal this strat, him using the MTVRs to bring out some infantry squads and supplies with them. That's really smart. I like how he's got the assaultmen small paired up with the standard Marines. That's some good anti-vehicle, good anti-infantry. The Marines, their biggest advantage is their 13-man squads. They are really chonky. All right, now we're starting to see Terminators come in. More cruise missiles. Holy cow, they must have a million of those TU22s. And oh, there we go. Pack 3 blots out 1, but the other 2 still land. Now, so what I'd like to see here, I'm nitpicking a little bit. If you know you're going to push on the left side with your infantry, hit that with the artillery rather than, you know, these other spots in the wood line. Oh man, those SPG-9s are really tough to deal with. They do good damage against infantry as well. So whoever that like ultraviolet, blue, purple player is there. Oh, and here comes, oh, the Terminator with the grenade launchers. Look at that. Oh, immediately panicked. You gotta be careful. I don't think he realizes the supply's there, but that's very, very dangerous spot to be in. Yeah, and trying to close with infantry, that's rough. The tube artillery, unlikely to do a lot to the Terminator. Now some spruts rolling in. Americans have reduced the KD gap a little bit. It looks like the fight on the right-hand side is going fairly well. Slight cap advantage. And it looks like Wero trying to figure out exactly how he wants to play this. Oh my gosh. The Russian PDSS trying to swim through. They get spotted in the water. Oh, that's a rough day with a Bradley shooting an autocannon at you while you're trying to swim. That's when you need that rebreather. That Terminator, though, now maybe he can use the smoke to kind of scoot in. You do have smoke on the SPHs, so I'd love to see that. Gotta be careful with all that supply on the back end. Fortunately, it's not a ton. Marines need to be careful. They're a little bit dangerous close to their own artillery there. It's like the Striker Dragoon. I like the rotating of units in and out of the supply here. He's going to need more supply here shortly. You see, nice. You got snipers, lasing, artillery, or anti-aircraft artillery in the back. Yellow's got a decent anti-air setup here. I'd be careful taking the Marines too far away from their small support. Oh, he's got some artillery coming in. But, you know, both sides doing a good job of not letting their units get decisively engaged, right? So you're seeing this a little bit where as they start to, they're in an unfavorable engagement, they're starting to bounce away. And, oh, more cruise missiles coming in. Yep, and he's already pulling those assaultmen out, even though he probably needs that small to help deal. Oh, and now Chorny Beretti there. Those Marines are done, and the small probably also done as well. Maybe they can get the shot off on that carrier that was at BM3. Oh, the Terminators found them, and the Striker there not in a good position. This is with 2 players pushing into mid. Multiple Terminators. This is potentially rough. Oh, now the toss. Those smalls go down. And you see the anti-air setup already. Oh, but whatever that is on the flank there did a good job knocking out a couple of those BMPs. Wero losing some of his infantry in the middle, but I feel like the trades are going in favor of the US now. The KD is closer to even than it was at the start of the phase. And this is one of those things, if you can fight to the opposite side of the river and force the opponent to constantly attack you to gain favorable terrain, you can start to really clean up in the KD fight. Oh, nice artillery doing work. Now the PAC-FA comes in. Some C, looks like some cluster crews. It all gets intercepted, and the PAC-FA gets smoked by a PAC-2. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before with an Su-57. US versus Russian Marines there. The US immediately gets shocked and bounce away. The ACV, down to very low health, needs to unload those Marines and get away. Yeah. It's the ACV is just very squishy. Oh, they're the Black Berets. Oh, those Force Recon CQC that panicked. Oh man, they just get annihilated. But Wero doing a decent job handling kind of a little bit of a double here in the middle. And you see him trying to figure out what he needs. Oh, the toss barrage comes in. That's doing a lot of damage. Look at the spread on that. Striker howitzers take some damage as well. And the Black Berets go down to the M1A1. And yeah, those Force Recon Marines need to get out of there. Deltas with Maws. Oh man, but that would be a broken unit with their anti-infantry. Are you saying paired Delta with Maws? Yeah, I think that'd be a good combination. The problem is Delta is so expensive. If you get caught out by like a Terminator, you don't want to just bleed. All right, cluster cruise is coming in. Looked like they hit the Abrams, but they're gonna whiff, and so the Abrams is still alive. I like having the Abrams here to help deal with some of these heavier vehicles. This BMO, oh my gosh, immediately the Morpehi get a hit off on the HC. We need more supply up at the front. And it looks like the Russian team really pinching into the middle, focusing on Alpha here. 3 minutes left in phase 1. You know, Vera's ability to deal with this kind of double team, triple team situation is going to be critical to his team success. Because if you can hold out like this, you can really make it easier on all of your teammates. Look at all these PAC-FAs coming in as well. The Russians definitely have a strategy for their air units, and it is, oh my god, these close range toss barrages. And now the Chorny Beretti here, this Abrams needs, yeah, you can tell he wants to stay to hold on for the end of phase 1, but he's getting focused down. Now we've got an assault breacher here on Alpha. Can't tell what player that is. But, oh, and then the Russians squeeze ahead on KD. Man, the Morpehi, they don't care. Do half damage to that assault breacher with the first RPG round. Grenade launchers shock them, but this is rough, and assault breacher gets cleared out as well. If those Morpehi get away, that's big. More cluster crews and seed coming in. Oh, nice shot on the Abrams. And now Vera's just very much on the back foot here. He's dealing with multiple opponents and a lot of air support. Well, there we go. Now some decent kills coming in on the orange player. But, oh wow, look at this. End of the phase, Russians going to grab up 3 objective points for territory. A couple of good hits on the Terminators, just not getting the kills that they need. And Vera's playing on a very narrow front here. And those Morskaya or Svedka, they're very chonky. Oh, more cruise missiles coming in on the Raiders. Scouts knocked out. And now the Morpehi come in, and against a panicked squad, right, they're just going to steamroll them. It looks like the US is setting up on the left flank for a big push here. There's not a lot of risk in sending it now. You're already down pretty far on KD and objectives, so might be worth trying to grab some territory here. Oh man, this Guards coastal build is so hard to deal with. The Sturmoviki, when they get the RPGs, they handle enemy vehicles so well. Here we go. It looks like Wero making a little bit of progress. He's brought his CJ in to get some shots off. I don't know if it killed anything. Hard to see, hard to tell. You know, I will give Vera credit. Where are the choppers? So he's running a Marine Striker. So he does have access to some good Marine helicopters. One point is gray. Oh, because it's being captured right now. Kodo. It can be really risky to run lots of helicopters when the Russian team's got so many tours up. Now, the Americans captured it. So they were able to knock down the Russians to just 2 points for phase 2. So nice little flip of the score going at the end of the phase there. Man, whatever that explosive, that thermobaric explosive that Choni Beretti have, just immediately panics those American infantry units. Makes it so hard to counter them. Helicopters on A having a hard time. I haven't even seen a helicopter show up. More cruise missiles coming in. But this is... Hey, what's up, Aziliath? On the Russian side, this is exactly where you want to be in terms of terrain, right? On the far shore of Alpha, where you can pivot to help, you know, to help your teammates or to put some pressure on the US. And you see Vera's he's bottled up here in the middle, which is not how he wants to be. He's trying a different build here. He's got CEVs and engineers coming in. The CEVs can do fairly well against some of the lighter armor, lighter Russian armor. I think playing in the middle, it can be really dangerous because you can basically get shot from multiple sides. Oh, Morpehi trying to close to the CVs. They're actually taking a ton of damage. Bless you. Those RPGs doing some work. Oh, the combat engineers. Wow, the range on that Terminator soaking those engineers with grenades at this range. It's kind of wild. All right, so the Morpehi get knocked out. Combat engineers also struggling. CV is going to move to try to take care of that. Is that BM3? Yeah, the M202. I agree. The M202 flash is a really cool weapon. Although my Greenbirds have a tendency to kill each other with it. Yeah, ZMA. I feel like because we've seen tours on either sides. You know, Hybrid. I think he had an M1A1, but he's been dealing with so much in terms of like cruise missiles, and then these Su-57s with the cluster crews coming in. Oh, and that PAC-2 just whiffs. That feels bad. I think that's why he shifted to the CEV, something with a little bit of punch, even though it's a little bit more of a glass cannon. And look, you're seeing 3 different colors worth of enemies pushing here on Alpha. To me, so the light green player out on the left flank, he's playing that soft striker build. I think he needs to really swing into the middle here to take some pressure off of his teammates. Yeah, you see all these tours in the back, and they're not running their radar, but I think, against helicopters, they don't necessarily even need to. And, at least the Marine helicopters have a little bit of armor. I know the soft helos, that I think basically get one shot by anything with any tour. Yeah, so I think it's actually 2 players it's 2 different shades of green. It's kind of hard to tell on the stream. Hybrid, but it looks like he's set up very defensively on the left. Nikita, he's running those recon units because what I think is really they're kind of like recce infantry hybrids, the force recons, right? They're smaller squads but do good damage, but I agree with you. I think he needs to go back to this small Marine build that he was running previously. It looks like, though, what he's doing... Oh, no. Yep. The enemy has good visibility here, and he needs to be careful. That Abrams needs to not roll up there by itself. Photo Comanches are situational weapons. 100%. Can you please say, Hybrid, hold your flank better? All right. Hybrid, hold your flank better. Motivation. Go for it. Look at that. Tube artillery coming in on the M1A1. I think Vera he just needs to reset here and not... I think he's feeling the urgency, but he's got 10 minutes left in this phase. I would love to see... Oh, nice HIMARS barrages. Look at this. 3 colors of Su-57s. Yeah, the US did a good job closing out phase 1. I think they need to reset, and then they need to smoke the crap out of Alpha and make a big push. In this game, and you see the smoke coming here on the edge. If you're not... Oh my gosh. Yeah, the Kurganets in the wood line. So here's my other unpopular opinion. They can keep pushing on Alpha, but there are 3 Russian players working Alpha. I think if they leave Vera by himself and they focus instead on Bravo and Charlie, the US team might have a little bit more success. I don't know any West Germans named Richard. But I get the joke there. Is it Das Dicke Ende kommt nach? Oh wow, the Small has just toasted that B-17. That was nice. All right, here's the infantry push. They're in front of the artillery. Yep, FEP's moving up to support. I like this. I like this from Vera. Yeah, incompetence. That is correct. I like that take. The Sturmoviki. Thank you, Hybrid. Sturmoviki getting pinned down. The Chorny Beretti also taking some hits. There we go. The Small is... You love to see the explosives immediately pinning those infantry. Chorny Beretti go down. And now the US infantry can move forward. What I'm worried about for Vera now... Oh, we see a Catfay potentially coming in. That's smart. You'll see the cruise missiles bloom in the distance as these US infantry shove their way through. All right, here are some Su-57 cluster crews, but it looks like they're oriented the other way. There's the Terminator. Yep. So the Abrams is moving. Catfay's still aiming. Oh, and the Tor, it's right there. But the bigger threat to your infantry is that... Oh, there you go. One more shot to kill the Terminator. It's smoked out. Oh, another Terminator in close. At least it's too close for the missile. Oh, and now more Russian infantry. The coastals pop out. That M1 is in trouble. It smokes and backs away. We're going to see more tube artillery coming in. Vera definitely in need of supplies here. CEVs are healed up and on their way up. BM3F knocked out, but that's a lot of infantry. And then another TOS barrage come in. TOS actually killed by counter battery. Nice. Now cluster cruise is coming in. Oh, big hits. One CEV and the Abrams goes down. That hurts. They need some SHORAD close to the front. Yeah, that was a nice push, but he paid for it in blood. More cruise missiles coming in. We see a CJ and a Viper coming in. Let me see if I can figure out what his loadout is. Obviously, CJ doing a seed run here. No surprise to anyone. But the Viper's rolling with some JDAMs. I wonder how he's going to use this. It looks like dropping. Oh, big hits. Well done. Well microed run from the Viper with those JDAMs. Now Su-35 coming in. And it looks like the strikers get counter barrage. That's huge. Yeah, Nikita, I have not tried the Bereg as an assault gun either. And look at that nice push from Vera. He's going to be able to take control of Alpha here. And the US, with 5 minutes left to go in phase 2, in a good position from territory. The problem is he's got a bunch of damaged units. They really need to supply up here. I like him using the MTVR to kind of shuttle these units around to speed this up. The man fires from the supplies. Sometimes you just need the responsiveness. It's a risk that some people are willing to take. Oh, that was it. That was an intense couple minutes. That was good. That was very well played from Wero. And you see, it's like almost like he's like taking a deep breath here, trying to figure out what's next. I think he needs to focus on getting, yep, he's got more supply coming to the front. He needs to dig in his infantry. You know, you really got to, what you want to do is have them occupying like every piece of cover, make the opponent work for it. But what I would also like to see is these, the raiders and the recon guys on Alpha right now spread out just a little bit. The risk of them getting hit with like one cruise missile is just a little too high for my preference right now. And it looks like the US side making decent progress on the left flank. Here we go. Yep, Russian push coming in, big coastal guard push, as well as some ballistic missiles from the back line, literally shooting them from spawn. You know they're just going to be refunded. The Pac-2 does not have its radar on, so those ballistic missiles, oh, they do hit off on the right side of the view here. Airborne Marine Corps, it has the potential to be good. I think you're still, what you're really missing from that combo, Andish, is artillery. A big Sheridan in this bag. So this is a big push from the Russians here going into the end of phase 2. The Brute, I mean, it's okay. Like, it's good for what it is, but you know, I'd rather have the Iron Thunder. Yeah, the laser guided rounds are always good if you can do it. More Tu-22 cruisers coming in. US forces making their push onto Bravo. That looks like an armor soft build there. Delta Force in the building. They're not going to fare well against the BTR. They got some AMPVs in support. Yeah, Armor Airborne's a nicely balanced combination. Only thing you're really lacking is like elite infantry, but that, you know, the airborne are decent and well balanced. All right, so there we go. We found another Terminator. But taking some hits, and actually the player here on Bravo, the armor soft player, doing a good job countering some of that guard coastal vehicles in the wood line. Here we go. We got some Carl Gustavs and some AT4s coming in on those BM3s. But you know there are more Pehi and Chorny Beretti in those vehicles. This is about to be rough. Americans losing a little bit of their capping advantage. More ballistic missiles on the way in. Oh, Patriot Pac-2 just goes into the dirt. That's unfortunate. Oh, now the HIMARS. It looks like we're going to see a line barrage across Point Alpha as the Marine soft team that did so well on Alpha is about to get knocked out. At the guard coastal combination just so strong. The armor on those even on the T-72s is really high. All right, let's see what we do. Oh, there we go. We got a towed tour on the back. Now we see a CJ coming in. 2 minutes left in the phase. US has lost their cap advantage and actually is flipping to the Russians now. Oh, good hits from the HIMARS. T-72 is hurt. Something dies in the back there. Oh, man, those Terminators just doing work. CJ is at high altitude. It looks like it's going to get away, though. PACFA coming in. Some interesting trades here in the middle. Lots of artillery coming in. Yeah, the biggest... These Terminators, they just do... Oh, there we go. More Sky finally get annihilated. The Terminators there with the grenade launchers are so good at panicking the infantry. And I'm worried about this infantry blob that we've got here in the middle. You see a million rockets going out. Oh my god, the armor on those just eating all of those handheld rockets. One finally goes down. Yeah, everything needs to heal up here. I like this one very. He's backing out. This is a Marine Striker deck, Alex. Yeah, it's not going to be a cruise missile, Nikita. It's going to be a toss barrage. That hurts, but it looks like the Terminator is knocked out at least. All right, for those of you asking for a helicopter, here's the Viper. Oh, the T-80. Viper looks like he's going to take a couple... Actually, shooting at the BTR with the Hellfire. helping out his teammate on Bravo. 20 seconds. There's a Russian unit somewhere on Bravo, so unable to get the shot. Oh, Comanche just smoked. And that Tor doing work. Oh, Viper barely dodges another missile. So Americans will hold Alpha, but they're going to lose 4 points to KD. Oh, there the Viper goes down. We got 2 different Vipers in the deck here. Yeah, I feel like there are a lot of units in this game that counter helicopters really, really well with stuff like small arms. And yeah, the American player there overall on the flank, I feel like he just needs to he needs to stop pushing for Kilo and just crash into Echo and take some pressure off of his teammates. I realize I'm, backseat driving here, but backseat gaming. Another CJ coming in. Gets a couple of good hits. I think that was a Tor off on the flank. Su-57 counter Cass. More cluster cruises. Oh, Vera, you need to get that resupply up and running. I like this, the HIMARS line barrages, but because it's the HIMARS, it's the explosive round. So against some of the armored vehicles, you're less likely to get the hits that you want. Oh man, the scatter on that, just so unfortunate. He's able to get the infantry away, but the supply gets hit. Yeah, the Ranger, the Mark 47 is the grenade launcher you're talking about. Oh my gosh, what? Oh my god, why is this doing this to me right now? To continue my stream, they need to verify it's me. Oh my gosh. I will do that later. Anyone watching on YouTube, you guys can still see the stream, correct? Yeah, the combination of Su-57s and Tu-22s that we've seen has been borderline oppressive, but the Americans have weathered it okay. All right, thanks everyone. YouTube's giving me a weird error. I'll deal with it after this game so we don't accidentally drop the stream, but as long as you guys can see. All right, more cargo coming in. I love this this combination. And for those of you out there looking at running Marine decks, MTVR with some supplies, a small squad and a Marine squad in it, that's a fantastic combination there. Thank you, Delta. Appreciate you. All right, here we go. We got the Striker soft push. He's doing exactly what I was hoping for. He's crashing into Echo. Americans now up 2 objective points on cap. They need to hold this and they need to start farming some KD. And I say that as a toss barrage comes in and just makes that a slightly more difficult ask. Oof. Yeah, this is the problem with the Striker SPHs is the tube arty rounds just don't do that much damage. Oh no, cruise missile kills a Thunderbolt out on the flank. Yeah, the audio is enabled. He just might not be pushing the in-game audio, Elijah. So that's why I've got the music going in the background. Wait, hold on. All right. No, I'm still not getting any audio from it, unfortunately. Man, these toss barrages have just been absolutely brutal. And to his credit, that Guard Coastal player there has done a great job keeping them topped up. They've been barraging quite a bit. And you see some tube arty in the back. That's the biggest thing. I feel like the Americans have lacked reconnaissance in the middle, and that's hurt them a little bit. Yeah, Alex, we had game audio for the first game, but a lot of it comes down to whether or not the player is pushing the audio on their end. All right. Nice. Catfay barrage going out. Love to see it. Oh, so still a little bit of a double in the middle. Morpehi running into small and American Marines. and they're immediately shocked and panicked. That's the advantage of those small squads. We see another Abrams coming in. I think that's smart. You need something to hold against some of these more advanced Russian vehicles. We had more Su-57 airstrikes coming in, but that player on the flank doing a great job of crashing into the enemy there, taking some control. Oh man, another TOS barrage. And another Comanche. Got to be careful. It looks like it's about to go down to the Tor in the back line. Well, the Americans now up 3 objective points. And here's the tricky part, right? You're probably not going to be able to hold that for the last 10 minutes of the game, but now at least you can force the Russians to spend some destruction score attacking. Oh, Viper does get a 2,000 pounder away, doesn't kill anything. Viper knocked out by an S-300. Now you see the green player also sliding into Alpha to try to help. Very hectic, but look at this. 3 Russian players converging onto Alpha, and Wero just doing his best to hold. More HIMARS barrages coming in. Yeah, Nikita, I think he does have 2 tosses. That's the only way we'd see them shooting that rapidly. Cruise missiles and seed coming in for the Americans. Now we see, is that Russian smoke coming in? That's what it looks like. So Russians could be prepping for another push onto Alpha. Big HIMARS preparatory barrage. Yeah, it's one of those things where like you almost want to just try to get your infantry onto the far bank here. Yeah, Hunter, it's been a good push, and I think a lot of it has come down to the US players on the flanks taking quite a bit of map control and punishing these doubles in the middle. And we see more engineers coming in. Yeah, I worry about this tank being out there on its own. And Wero is correct. He needs to get these units back for some heal. That's been a constant fight for him as he works through, and he's got an MTVR coming back up. Oh no, there's more Pehi. Man, they just chew through the armor on the Abrams. Kind of wild. Now it is an M1A1. Yes, Alex, for sure. The Russian artillery has made frontline supply really challenging. And because he's very reliant on these MTVRs for supply, it's been a little rough. It takes a minute to get supply up to the front. More Pehi coming in. F-35 makes a strike. Oh, gets knocked out. KD still in favor of the Russians. The Americans maybe need to think about going into the final phase here, less about pushing and more about just imposing costs on the Russian team. They're about to lose Alpha, which I think they need, unless they get some destruction score, they need to hold. Mushy putty. Yeah, they do. The more Pehi are very strong. More TOS barrages. It looks like it's mostly going to get dodged. Nice, a little bit of luck there on the scatter. More Su-57s coming in. Wow, crazy it's going to get away. What is that? Where did that PAC-2 missile go? Just like off to the side, hitting the ground. A little wild. And it's already back for resupply. Only 4 missiles in the magazine. That's rough. You see, all right, Russians converging on Alpha. It's worth noting the Americans still have credit for three cap points even without Alpha. Yeah, Nikita, they must have, but man, that happened quick. Man, you can see there's a Tor in the back there, or a Pantsir. So the Russians, they're gonna make progress on Alpha, and they're actually up on KD, but they're down on capture points. The KD is going to be enough to secure the win for Team TU22. So the Americans, they've got to actually focus on trading efficiently in the last 5 minutes here. It can't be throwing units away. And actually, yeah, that striker is almost certainly done. Yeah, phase 3, especially with the cap advantage, you can't get any more points. You're not going to sudden death your opponent at this point. You've got to trade effectively. Yeah. Yeah, they need to just start knocking out Russian units. To my everlasting shame, I don't actually know what the deal is if there's a tie at the end. Oh my god, that striker just needs to shoot. Okay, it does. Tornado Beretti cleaned out on Alpha. The thermobarics of those engineers not going to do anything to that BMO. Oh, look at the big rocket barrage coming in. How are those more pet? He's still alive. Abrams on the flank. Sees that BMOT. Wow, it's still a 3 hit? That doesn't feel right. Oh man, somewhere the US side is not trading effectively. I want to be like, Vera, you don't need Alpha. You don't. You just need to kill the enemy. 4 minutes left. Oh man, that toss barrage, that's not going to help things. Viper coming in, he looks like he's trying to get a bombing run off. There's the S-300, sees the F-16. The Viper will get both JDAMs off. No kills. Oh, that hurts. The Russians lose their KD advantage. Some hits coming in. US, they need to make up like 2,000 destruction score in the next 3 minutes. At this point, I would give up Alpha completely and try to focus on something that will help my teammates get some. Oh wow, America just got huge destruction score boost. 3 minutes left. Yeah, 200 now, 500 in gap. It's so tough. You know, he doesn't have a ton of air in his deck. Oh, there we go. The Catfay doing some work. This is where you need your soft players with the F-35s to come in and just start smashing enemy backline units. But the Americans have wanted for Recce for most of this game. Oh, maybe they can kill the Terminator here. Yeah, that was a fantastic Catfay barrage. Oh my god, I can't believe that Terminator's going to get away. There we go. Knocked out. But yeah, capturing Alpha does nothing for you. Russians still up 500 points on KD. They're losing the gap slowly. Russians making a big push onto Bravo here, and that makes a lot of sense. If they can just secure one more point here going into, yeah, even just uncapping it. Now the Americans need Alpha back. Americans somehow quickly ahead on KD? What was that? This is tight. This is going to go down the last 2 minutes. Cruise missiles coming in. Oh, big hits. M1 knocked out. Remember, it's 1,000. You need a 1,000-point lead in destruction score to get the point for it. Now the Americans have to get the tie at a minimum. They need to take back either Alpha or Charlie, and they need to hold Bravo. And Yellow is making a big push there. Those BMOTs, they will bleed. RRC and AMPV there. Big rocket strikes. Here we go. US very close to a KD point lead. 1 minute left. Oh, those cruise missiles come in. And now KD has evened out. Oh my gosh. There's the toss. CJ coming in looking for some seed. 1 minute left. Yeah, this is tight. This is close. There we go. The US in a position to win it right now. They got to hold this for a minute. Team SNAFU. 45 seconds. KD dead even. Big Russian push onto Bravo. Vera needs to throw everything he's got onto Alpha right now. At least his teammates have taken Charlie. Oh, there's a push on Echo as well. The US have to hold Bravo. 30 seconds left. Yeah, there's so much stuff on Bravo. And that's the problem. You're down to 20 seconds. What can you possibly put on Alpha? There's the toss barrage. That's nuts. A couple of unlucky hits. No, but it looks like the US will hold Bravo 10 seconds. US ahead on KD. Look at that. They have managed to hold on Bravo and Charlie. GG, well played. SNAFU takes it 9-6 in phase 3. Wow. That was nuts. That was, so we had like a super high energy, you know, in phase 2, and then it lulled out a little bit in phase 3. The last 10 minutes there was absolutely insane. Only one NGSW squad on Charlie. Yeah. Yeah, very close. Vera, look at that. I hope he goes back to the overall score. Vera had almost a 1.2 KD being doubled or tripled for the entire game. Yeah, Randy, I agree. Fantastic game. I don't know this Vera guy, but I'm gonna add him to my friends list. Anyone that you, yeah, 1.16 KD, just holding Alpha, no big deal. Really well played. And then look, so the Russian spec here, so 2 guard coastal, 2 guard VDV, and then coastal VDV. If you want to know what the meta is for Russian specs right now, there you go. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Pretty impressed with the US side. Look, the KD is just atrocious across the board for the Americans. But they managed to win it on capture in phase 3. Not something you see all that often at the competitive level. Randy treadmilling. Very nice. Very nice.